Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. For those traders in YouTube who are seeing this video for the very first time, you can see my name at the top of the video, and I use something called wave analysis. So it's something that I've created out of an amount of studies in Elliott wave and a few other wave theories. So if you like it, please share the videos, watch it to the end, and watch some more of my videos. It should help you. If you're finding that it's very, very difficult for you, which means you're new into trading, you may want to spend some more time watching more of my videos and you'll eventually get the concept. You might not be very good at identifying the patterns at the start, but you will get the concept, basically, right? What I will do this weekend, I don't know if I'll do the weekly outlook or if I'll share some more of my daily webinars with you, but what I will do in the weekend is I'll do a video on the concept of wave analysis. Because I think a lot of traders are struggling with that, understanding the basic concept, what it is and why it works. So I'll probably put out the video on that, and if you guys are interested, please help share it as well. Let's go. Let's start immediately. Dollar index. So dollar index is going up, which might very soon turn to be the uptrend. So we might very soon make the decision that we're coming back to the top here and we will not tag the low. It's a little too early for that. What would confirm that is if we get a bigger correction. Anywhere on the upside, we get another 4-hour or daily correction like this. That is going to give you another impulse. Will confirm coming to the top here. Of course, there's going to be a lot of pullback, but we will get to the top there. So we might brand this as a contracting flat, which means not breaking the low. It's a little too early to do that because even from this point, they can drop, right? Remember, look at this one. If you were here and you were looking at a breakout of that trend and you were thinking, oh, well, we're going up, you would have made a mistake because they kept going down, right? And there's a number of reasons. I'm going to go with the impulse. I'm not going to go with the corrective part because the corrective part is much easier to look at from that way, right? With the pullbacks in it. So we're done with the pullbacks and the impulses. And this is the deepest pullback so far, if it is still a pullback. So as soon as we get a deeper, one more deep correction, we'll confirm upside and we will, just trade it. That doesn't mean we're not trading. We're already trading to the upside, which means this could end up going to the top. But just be careful because anytime this week, if they're going to do this, they will do this maybe this week, next week, if it's going to happen. Because if this keeps going more high and we get a correction, we will go with total uptrend. So as of now, we're buying. You would have seen that already. And I told you yesterday, Monday, those of you who joined me Monday, you can buy if you want above this. What we said is that this might come a little more here and then go, but put your entry order above the top. And if you did that, you're in the trade. Here was another trade this morning. If you want that trade. Now, how far they're going to go, you have to be careful. Now that you're at the top of this impulse, now that you're at the top of this impulse that has been going for a while, you can see that we're getting some divergence here. That means momentum in that impulse is dying out. Right? You're not getting that amount of momentum to go. So, and we already have divergence between this and this. You can see that. So there's less momentum in this move than there is in this move, which means that anytime we would either get a correction like this, a bigger correction like this, or deeper correction than that, or the reversal. One of those three is going to happen. One like that, a bigger one, or a total reversal. Back to the low. So which is it? I don't know. We will trade until we get it. So right now, these are short-term trades. If you get another flag here, you can take a short-term trade. Make sure you put it to break even. If they decide to reverse, you'll be out of the trade for break even, and then we look for sell setups. If it keeps going, good for you. I believe it will go a little more up, and I can tell you why I think it's going to go a little more up, even if they're going to go down. Right? I'm not saying they're going to continue. I'm saying even if they're going to go down, there is a little more up in that. And the reason I think they may go a little more up because I believe the yen is moving a little more up. And I don't think the yen is moving because the yen is devaluing, it's losing value. I think it's the dollar index, the dollar value that is getting, stronger at the moment against everything. Well, let's see. Gold is coming down. So let me refresh you on gold, what we had on Monday. Tuesday, you were not in my group, so you did not see what we did on Tuesday and how we changed, how we look at the pattern. So what we had on Monday was this. Let me put the lines on. I specifically took out all the lines here because I want to show you what we had. What we had was this move here coming down. That was last week. Last week we had this move, so you can understand how pattern changes as well, right? So we had this, and every time you get this, you look for 1, you look for 2, you look for 3, and we always assume they will break the top, right? Remember what I told you. We always assume they will break the top. If you were with me Friday, this move last week, this move down here, we predict. This move up here, we predict. We thought it would break the top, and if it breaks the top, it will come back to about this level. After which it will either continue to go or it's going to go back up, depending on how we would look at this pattern here. And the reason both of those are possible is because we don't know where this piece, it belongs to this one or it's something of its own, right? Because this is a standalone. Right now, it's not fitting into the patterns we know. It didn't break the top. They came here and they made this correction here. And it dropped 1 lower. When that happens and this starts to go up, if you get a flag here, that becomes a buy to break the top. So it will either break this top or both of those tops and then start the downside. This was still a corrective structure, right? That is what we would look at it, then give you at least 1 more down. Well, that didn't happen. We went for the contracting flat, which means it's not breaking the top, it's contracting. And when we got the contract, the only way you put a contracting flat is when you confirm the break of this low. So when this move dropped and break that low, we confirm the contracting flat, and then you start to get sell setups, right? So after that, any flag would be a sell setup. A sell setup until you come to this low. Why is this low important? Because we're still in a corrective structure, right? This entire piece is still a corrective structure until we break through that low. If we break through that low, then we would assume that this was all the correction we had. And we're going on that is very unlikely going to be all the correction. There are many, many reasons why that is unlikely going to be all the corrections. And from my past experience looking at these patterns, if you get a big flat like this here, you're likely making either a regular flat or running flat. So even if we break this low, which means if you get sell setup and you should take it, and it breaks through this low, I would still be very cautious that there's 1 more move up here before we go down, especially if we break the low. We're going to come back here and then go down. If we don't break the low and they go back up, they may or may not break the top. Again, they'll break the top if it's a regular flat, don't break it if it's a contracting flat, and then we're going to go down. Because once you came so low to the lower side, you will have more downside. And that is why dollar index might still go up more, even if it corrects a little. See? Because this looks more downside. Once they come so low, it's very likely they'll continue. It's very rare that this is all the correction. We break the low and we take off like a rocket. It might happen, but it's rare. I will be cautious of the buy. We will take the buy. If we get a buy set up to go back to this level, we will take that buy. And if it continues to go, good for us. If they stop here and start to come down, we'll be aware of that. We'll get out of the trade and we will look for 1 more down. At least 1 more down. Silver, we were absolutely sure silver was going to go somewhere. I told you silver is going to go somewhere. What I was looking for was a bigger correction in this phase here before they go, because I was thinking we're going to make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of an ending diagonal one, come to this level and then go back up. And there's a 99% chance silver will go back up because we broke the top. That's like a message sent to you. When you break the top, you're going to come down here, but you're going to go back up, right? So it might come a little more here, but there's a high probability of this going back up, making a new high, because we're looking at this as a running flat pattern. And that is a very, very common pattern. That's the most common pattern you're going to find in the market. And they work like magic very often. I've shown you, if you've been following me, you have seen thousands of those already. Not just hundreds, but thousands of them already in all time frame. So this one, if it follows what everyone is doing, a 90% chance it's going to go back up. I would say 99 because I'm a little more confident to the upside than the general statistics. General statistics might be 90%. I am 99% we're going to get a new high. Because this is not going down very, very aggressive, and we still have divergence, and we will still have divergence. So is there more sell setup? Well, I wasn't selling in this piece. I told you I'm not going to be selling in this piece. There's no sell there because this is a sharp one. I expect them to make 1 more up. And that didn't happen. Actually, they made a contracting flat there. That was a sell setup. Once that you made a flat, and if you're going to drop, that's a sell setup. This is the sell setup which give you break even. Every sell setup you take from now going down to get to this low would have to be very cautious. They're not going to break the low. If it's a running flat, it doesn't have to break the low. It doesn't mean it's not going to go more. You just wait for another correction and keep going. Every flag you take in this piece going down, you would have to be very careful with the flags, because at any point you will get another sharp wave like this for a running flat, right? So if you got tagged in this one and you don't take break even here, they can do this and then go down. That would be pretty easy. That would be a running flat. See this one? That would be a running flat, and then we will get one more down, and then we could be ready for the upside maybe. How deep this is going to go, we'll see how deep they come to this line. They don't have to break the line, but they can go deep enough for that. So I still think silver has some more down before it turns. I also think yen has some more up before it turns. See the magic? I told you buy. It's going to go to the top there, and they're about to be there already. I'm in that trade, and I think we're going to get to the top there very quick. So today, tomorrow, this move is going to finish. When they finish that move, then we will watch it very, very carefully. Because there are three patterns in play here right now. Let me show you all three of them. Now, if you're new to wave analysis, this might be a little difficult for you, but patience. I'll try my best. This is an impulse, this is an impulse, and this is an impulse. We have three impulses. An impulse is not a pattern. To have a pattern, you need to have an impulse, a correction, and an impulse. This is what you'll call a pattern. It doesn't matter what is inside of that correction, but that is the basic element of wave analysis, right? That is what it is comprised of. So you will find it everywhere. So when you have an impulse, you have to get a correction and you have to have an impulse. When you have an impulse, you have to have a correction and you have to have an impulse. When you have an impulse, you have to have a correction and you have to have an impulse. See how easy it becomes now? You just have to have a lot of, it has to follow by an next impulse. So we're right now in this correction, in this impulse, and we are correcting it. We correct it to this low. So there is a chance we are making 1, 2, 3 out of that, and then we will come back here. There's a chance for that, but I don't know whether that is going to happen because we have this impulse in here. See this impulse here? And we have that correction. So when we come back to the top here, they would have to tell us if they're going to come back, make a new low, and then go for this one, or if they'll continue to go there, and then either of those will still come back here. So it's when we get at the top here that we would look at the pattern, we look at everything we have, and then we'll decide, you know what, maybe we're not going to go there. Maybe we start looking, especially if we get sell setups, maybe we start taking those sell setups back to the low here. May or may not break this low, but then go back up. See? So the trade from here to there was the trade I was giving you since you start following me. And it's easy to trade it. There's a lot of trades in there you can get. At least we have got quite a lot of trades in there. Some very profitable, some break even. And the break even are in this part in the hourly. You remember I got quite a lot of break even in this part here, in the hour, on this part here. And I got quite a lot of break even at the start of this until it gets going. So we're in this trade. If you were with me Monday, you should have taken this trade and you were in it. Today is Wednesday. Wait for a flag. If you get a flag here, a small flag, even a small flag, you can take the trade to the top. Now, every now and then they'll make a deep correction and then go. Right now, I'm hoping that they will make a deep correction because I close this trade and I'll re-enter here again to go, and that will give me a bigger trade to the upside. But it might not happen. They might just go finish that move. I don't know how it's going to go. We'll see. Every flag I get or every correction you get, you can buy. Go back to the dollar index. That is why I think dollar index might just go a little more. Finish off the move on the yen, finish off the move on the silver, and then everything can turn. Because silver is definitely going to go back up. Yen is not definite, but it could. Right? But silver is definite. Another one you should look at is the Swiss, dollar Swiss. If you put the dollar Swiss on the daily, we showed you this way back sometime, this very sharp one, while these were coming down. And I was telling you that at some point they will go back with a very sharp move to finish that running flat and then come here. even if they're going to go back up eventually. So if this is correct, and if the way we look at pattern is correct, and if this one, if we're correct about this one, because we might be wrong about it, but if we're correct about this one, then this is the one that is matching it. Now it can go some more. The size of it doesn't have to be equal, right? So it could go some more, but the chances are it's going to come back here before they go. There's a high probability of it coming back, making a new low, and then go. I've shown you many of those big ones as well. Some of them take 3, 4, 5 years to finish. We have one that is right now in process for the last 5 years. That is on the Aussie New Zealand. I'll probably show you that one when I come to the Aussie New Zealand. Right? These things, especially when you're looking at them on the daily and the weekly, they do take a long time to happen. Here is a big one. Look at this one, right? If you're looking at this, this is a 1, 1, 2, 3. Come back here, and all you have is a big expanding flat. You wouldn't see that flat for like years. It will take you years to see that. Right? It will take you quite a long time to see it. But when you have these sharp waves that are not matching with anything, your anticipation of sometime in the future it will happen. We already know that. So we have this. We knew that sometime in the future, although you're breaking the low, you're going to have that sharp one coming. So let's see if this is going to turn anytime soon. You go to the 4 hour and you can start to see that there's divergence happening here, which means momentum to the upside is dying out. That doesn't really mean it's going to reverse. That means you could just have a bigger correction, right? We could just get a correction here and then continue to go. You go to the 1 hour and you're seeing that there's more divergence at the top in this one here, right? And that also doesn't mean it's turning. That means you could get another correction here and continue to go. So right now, any flag or flat you get, you can buy. You have to be very cautious, which means you're going to take profit on every impulse you get to the upside. You're not going to keep it. You take your profit, get the hell out of it. And if you get a sell setup, you'll definitely take it, which means any sell setup I get from now on, I will take. Whether that sell setup become a break even, a win or a loss, it doesn't matter. I'll take it. The buy setups, I will take them, but I'll be very cautious. Right? Because we're at the top of something that could turn. I still think they're going to go a little more, so we'll see. Come back, gold, still going down. Watch it at this point. If you're getting a flag here right now, they're making a small flat here. You can see this. It's coming back here, so you probably get one more down. Go for the sell. Silver, definitely on the pullback, you can go for the sell. This one is already a flag of its own, a smaller flag of its own forming here. They're going to get smaller and smaller. The impulses are going to get smaller and smaller as you go down, because as you go down, momentum will die out. So you can see the impulses are getting smaller already. They dropped, they made a flag, they dropped, they made a flag, they dropped, they made a flag, they dropped, they made, and you might start to see this happening before you get that. So that is also showing that momentum is dying out. Euro sell. This part, I thought this part would probably go back up here, make one like a flat like that, and then go. That's what I told you on Monday, because it was really, really slow. And that's just happened to be a slow move to the downside with a lot of flats in it. If you put an entry order here, you did well. If not, there's an entry order here we put yesterday. We probably closed the trade for small profit or break even. And you can see it's moving down really, really, really slow. You're getting another flag. You can take that again. You'll have to take small profit out of it, or you can move it to break even and take the break even. Because it doesn't look like they're going to go far. We're getting divergence and everything. What would give you a big move now? You see those smaller flags are not going to give you big moves. If you're looking for a big move, then let it make another big correction. If we get a bigger correction here, then we can take it and stay with it for a longer move down. Right? If not, any reversal here, any up move that gives you a buy, you can take. The buy doesn't necessarily mean we're going to come back to break the top. The buy could just mean a deeper correction and then go back down. That is quite possible, right? So if you get a buy setup here, because you're getting some weakness, you might just get a deep correction, and then you'll probably come back, make a new low, and then we'll see whether they break this impulse here. They break the low of that impulse, or whether they turn and they go back to break this top. Right? So this is going to crawl its way down, sell it, keep selling. Like I said, the impulses are getting shorter. You just have to know that divergence is coming, momentum is ending, impulses are getting shorter. All the sells are not going to give you that much profit. You will get some profit out of it, but not much. Pound, pretty much the same thing. We sold the pound yesterday. This was a very classical one. The first trade was break even. The second trade gives some money. And then I closed it, I think, somewhere here after this started to pull back. It's not going anywhere else to get the hell out of it. You have another one. You have another sell set up here. How far that is going to go, I have no idea, but it's not going to go far. It probably will go like this one. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, break the low, and then maybe you get a deeper correction. I'm expecting them to at least break this low. So that's a good sell. You should probably go. If you want to take this sell here, put an entry order in that low and see whether they break through. If you're lucky, they'll go fast. If you're not so lucky, they'll go like this. Right? So let's see. We will likely get divergence here if and when we break that low, because it looks like we will break it today. If and when we break it, we'll get divergence, and then we will see what this is doing. Right? Then we will see whether this is going to go up more, whether we're going to go with this flat. If you get one more move to the downside here, that will pretty much qualify for that to go back up, make a new high, and maybe then the downside. Or it could continue to go down, right? Because it doesn't have to, but let's see when we get there. It's a sell setup right now we're looking for. You have a sell setup, you can take the trade. If, I would take the trade. But I'll not take it. If I took the trade, I'll close it. If I was in that trade, I would have closed it already based on my strategy, and I'll put a new entry here. That's what my strategy say. Close it, put a new entry there. Aussie broke out. Some of my traders got in because you had to be in front of the computer. See, I wasn't there. I actually got in this one, and I closed it. I think I was going to sleep somewhere here, somewhere between in here. I closed it because I was going to sleep in the first place, and it wasn't going, so I just closed the trade. I assumed that this would make a bigger correction, and I'm right about that. They give this, they get this. I want to see something like this. And I'm selling, right? So what if I'm wrong about it? What if we don't get that up piece and this just keeps dropping? Well, you can put an entry order here for the sell. But I would like to see it go back up. I'd like to see this piece go back up, maybe even make some more consolidation. You give me a correction like this, and that becomes a good trade. That becomes a perfect trade for a sell. Let's see if we get that. What is Aussie doing in the bigger picture? Consolidating. Right? Remember, we assume we could get a big one like that. Well, it's not as big as that, but it might be big as this one. See this? So you see that flat there that you have for the sell? Put your entry order here. It's something like this I'm looking for. So I just want this to go back up here a little like that, and then give me that trade down. So if you look at these two, this is the big correction. That's the one we have. We drop. They make a flag here. That is how much? 1, 2, so much candles? About 6. I'm only 4 hours, so that's about a day's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. We have 1, 2, 3. This will be the 4th and the 5th candle. That would give me what I want. Yes, if this goes back up like this and do that, yeah, that would be a perfect setup for a sell. I just wanted to go back up a little on the hourly, right? On the hourly, I want this one here to go back up like this and then come down. That's a perfect sell setup. If it's not going to go, I'll have an entry order for a sell here. And I'll manage the trade in case it's a running flat. New Zealand, pretty much the same thing. You can keep an entry order here. I think I have an entry order there. I'm tagged already in that trade, but I'm aware that they might do this still and then go. So if this doesn't go within a certain amount of time, I'll take it off and then re-enter. But I think this is going to go. We've got that correction. We're going down nicely. Okay. This is a smaller version. This is like this one we had here. Remember this one here? And that small flat, we're making that small flat here now. You don't want to miss that trade down, right? That is one you can possibly get. That is why I have my entry order there. Now, I think they might correct a little more, which means they'll go back up a little like this to that level and then drop. It's not a problem. It's manageable, right? So if it comes back here, this one doesn't necessarily have to go back, but they might just go back like this and then drop. You already have enough consolidation in here to go. But if Aussie pull back, this might pull back as well. And that would be a good sell setup. CAD. Well, CAD, we're a little careful here now with this because it's starting to curve. We're at the top of the trend coming down. It's irrelevant, but just give us an idea whether we're going to break out of the biggest structure, right? This piece in here was a little mess. There was a lot of thing there, and I think it's incomplete as it stands. You need this to come back here. If that comes back, we might look at this as a running flat and then one more up. So I can look for a buy setup on this one coming down. Comes down like this. I can have an entry order there for a buy, or probably get a buy at an earlier stage to go up. The only time I'm going to go for the sell now is when this drops beyond all these lows and then make a correction. And then I'm interested in the sell. So I'm still interested in the buy. As one guy put it, you're talking about buy cat, and it keeps going down. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing, right? We were buying here, we were buying here, we were buying here, and we were buying here. And I'm still looking for buys, right? And there's a reason for that. Like I showed you in the Swiss, right? Remember I just showed you in the Swiss how that big move always gets something with it? Well, pretty much we're in this pattern. This is the pattern we're in. You have 1, 2, 3. You have 1, 2, 3. You have 1. Make a wild guess. Are we going to get the 2 and the 3 to break this low? So are we going to get this move up? That is very likely, right? Not necessary, but likely. That is why I'm interested, especially when I see this happening. You see that squeeze happening there with divergence in play all the time. Anytime it could break out. Now, can they come back down again one more? Can they do one more here again and probably go back up and do one more there and do this and do this and do this and then go? Yeah, it can do that. But we're selling as well when we get sell setup, but mostly we are buying. So every setup we get for a buy, we'll take. For the sell, if we get a perfect setup for a sell, if they drop today, if they drop through this and give us this, yeah, we'll sell it back to the low. It's not going to come very fast. You notice how much consolidation, how much pullback you're getting in it. This piece was nice, but you don't get it so nice every time. But we'll sell it if we get the sell. If this is becoming a sell, if this turn here is becoming a sell, it just needs to drop, make a correction, and we'll all be in the trade. Swiss, did I skip any? I did Aussie, New Zealand, CAD, Swiss. Swiss I did for you already, and yen. Yen I did for you already. Just look for a buy setup. Aussie yen. Aussie yen is going up as usual. You should look for buy setups here today. This is a small running flat. You're making a flag here. This should be a buy setup. Well, this would probably take us to about the 270. I don't know how far, but we were aiming for that 270. This is an up move, uptrend. By the way, if you want to know how these patterns work, wave analysis, go back to somewhere around this date here. What date would that be? Let me see. Somewhere around here, which would be in August, maybe September. No, somewhere in here. In September, November last year. Go back and look at the chart that I did on Aussie pairs, all the Aussie pairs. The up move coming in the Aussie pairs. Go look at that webinar. You will learn something about wave analysis. If you're watching this for the first time, go look at it. And when you find it, share it with a friend. You must watch that webinar. It will help you understand how wave analysis works. And it's on all the Aussie pairs for that up move. So we're getting another up move, that's all. Break the top and then we'll see what happens there. New Zealand yen, same. This is a flat, it's going up. Look for buys. I'll do an update on the New Zealand and the New Zealand yen for you guys today. I'll try to do that today. But you're looking for buys back to this top. So any buy setup you get, take it. CAD yen. I'm a bit cautious on this one, simply because of this big pattern at the bottom here that we have. It's not typical of how they would go up when they're starting a big sharp impulse. And I don't see that. We have got smaller ones, but I don't see that. Maybe I'm wrong about it. And this is you know, for the CAD yen, maybe this is specific. They make a big flat and then you go. But if you're buying this, be careful at this level. Because very often, if you get a sharp wave like that and you get a big correction like this, it will turn out to be a bigger flat before they go. So I wouldn't be surprised if the CAD yen comes back here. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm not trading the CAD yen. I'm trading mostly dollar yen, the New Zealand yen, the Aussie yen, not the CAD yen. So I'm just deciding that this is not the trade I want to trade. you can take the same yen trade on the dollar yen, and that will be enough, right? These are all yen movements mostly. Swiss yen, also upside, but I don't think it's going to go up a lot. Be careful, watch it, because this pattern could get more complex than the way I'm looking at it, right? I'm looking at it right now as a 1, 2, 3. But the way this starts to go up, I'm very cautious that you could get this whole piece becoming more complex, more bigger patterns inside, go down, back, come back up, go down, back, and, like that. I'm not very careful. I'm not very keen on trading this one. But if you get flags and you get corrections, you can buy, right? If you get good setup for buys, take it. Aussie Swiss. We're in a correction, and it's working amazing. This is how you understand wave analysis, and this is where you're convinced wave analysis works. We had 1, 2, 3, and we were already making all these predictions in here, right? So we've got this up, we've got that down, we're getting this one up. There's a nice correction forming here. That means you're going to get one more impulse up. Watch it, that might go very fast. See, sometimes they correct and then they just take off. They make a correction and take off. See, this takes off. So you might want to watch this piece here for a very fast move to the upside, because you've already got the correction, sorry, and you're getting a flag here. See that? This was your correction already. 1 second, guys. Give me a second, please. Sorry about that. So let's go. Look at this. That's a nice buy setup. It could go really fast sometimes, especially when they've already corrected. We're expecting that to come and break this top if it goes as we expect, and then we're going to expect that to come back down, because that is going to complete 1, 2, 3, and we still have that impulse there. Let's go. Aussie CAD. Probably look for a sell setup here. It's not very clear whether this is trying to make a correction here and then continue to go up, or whether they're dropping. It should go up more, because we have a lot of divergence in this structure. And eventually, when you start to see it doing this, they tend to go up. So right now, I'll be very cautious of the sell. If there's sell setups, you should take it, but you have to be very careful. Or trade something else, right? If you don't like this, trade something else. But right now, if you get a flat here, it will be a good sell setup. It's not a perfect setup for a sell right now. Aussie, New Zealand, stay away from this until it finishes. I told you I'm going to show you the bigger structure. Let me show you that one. And this one has been going on for a couple of years now. We've been tracking this on a regular basis. This is your first impulse. You kind of work your way down to this level. See, that is a correction. And now you're getting your impulse up. So this one at some point, it's probably going to get maybe a little higher, and then we're going to look for a trade down. So if you keep following us, if you keep following me, you'll probably get that trade. We'll figure out when it's starting, and we'll go with it. I don't think it's starting as yet. I don't see a starting point in that as yet. So I think this one, whatever they do in here, it's either it's finished or they come back here and they work their way to the top there, and then we'll start to look for downside. We don't have to break that top, but we can go a little higher than this. I believe we can get a little higher than that. And then in any case, I don't think this is the correction for the downside as yet. Right? It's not finished as yet. You have to come back here, go back there, come back here, go back there, finish this structure. Right? And by then we might just get to the top here and then look for the downside. EuroCAD came back pretty deep in this whole correction. My thought process was they would just probably stop here and then go up. Well, they actually came deep, which means we're left with this and we're left with this. Right? So are we going to be stuck here for a long time making another one like this and coming back here? Or is this some kind of a contracting flat and we're going to go up? I don't know. Watch the low. Watch this. It could come all the way to the low here. I don't think they should break that low. I'll take this. That's a trend. Take it off. It's a much bigger trend. We're looking at these patterns here, right? So this could work its way down some more. And then go back. The lower they come, the more this becomes a big flat in here. Right? The lower that comes, the more this becomes a big flat, which means when they go back up, we'll be going downwards and not upwards. So on the 4 hour, you're watching when this is going to finish, and you're starting to get some divergence finally here. See, there was no divergence there. Now you're getting divergence with this piece coming down. And on the 1 hour, you're getting more divergence, which means momentum is starting to die out. You can trade it down if you want. I'm not trading this down, but you can trade it down if you want, especially if this pulls back and drop. That would be a small running flat. You can trade it down. But if this starts to go up again, we should look for buy setups because of where it is on the low. Right? The buy setup should be, better. I've been buying this a number of times. It didn't go. That's okay. I'll look for buy setups. The lower it comes, the more I look for buy setups, right? Because I don't know where the low is. The sell setups, yeah, if I get a sell setup, there were a few sell setups in here that you could have sold. I'm not trading this very much, but if I get the buy, I'll take it. Let's go. You're in New Zealand. You're in New Zealand. We came up to that level, which is not where we wanted. We wanted to go a little higher like this, but it didn't. So we'll just go with what we have, and we're coming down. So that means we're going to sell it because we think they're coming down somewhere here, right? There's more downside in it. Let's see if we get a sell setup today. You probably will get a sell setup today because you're getting this one here. That's a buy setup here for a short-term trade if you want it. I don't know how deep it's going to go. It might be worth taking because we don't know if they're going to correct all of this. This buy might take you quite a while before you come down. So the buy might be worth taking. Go for this buy. This might be the only thing you get today. But remember, we're going down. So the bigger picture is downside, which means if this only comes to this level and start to drop, you have to get out of the trade. Right? If they only go to that level for this, because the trade you actually want is the sell setup. The sell is the bigger move to the downside. You can either wait for this to finish and then sell, or go for the sell, go for the buy and then go for the sell. Euro yen. Yep, the buy was above this stop. So if you took that buy, it's a very small running flat. You had in one here, and if you get a flag here, you can still buy. We're going up. We'll probably go break the stop. Here, remember this running flat? We told you we're going to get it. It's going. So now we're looking for this to the upside. You have a lot of buy setups to get here. You get a flag buy, you get a flag buy, you get a correction buy. We're still going. There's a lot more to the upside till about this level, which is a good way up. Right? There's still a good way up in this pattern. Take that off. There's more to go, and it might go. We might not get any deeper correction or so in it. So if you get a flag today, buy. It's actually making a flag right now. So if you get a flag, that's a buy setup. Euro Swiss. Probably leave this one alone until we are sure about what it's doing, because you've got a big correction here. And that means that this, even if it comes here, should go back up and then come down. Right? It should go back up and come down. But if they're going to drop from here, let them drop through the, sorry. Let it drop through the structure, make a flag here, and then we'll sell it. Right? It's a short term. It's a good sell to the downside. This is a big correction in the making right now for upside. But they would have to come and break this low. So I can see this possible going back up here, making a new high there. Then coming down something like this. And then going. Right? Something like that is possible. We'll see. You can trade bits and pieces. If this gives you a buy setup, take it, because this might be the low. This here might be the low of this piece coming down here. So if we get a flag here for a buy, it's worth taking. You could get another one up, and it might be sharper. It might be more like this up, right? So you might get something like that up there to the top. Euro Oz. Okay, this one is becoming very complicated. Right, this pattern in here it's not going to where we wanted to go. We wanted this to come and break the top and then drop. That would have been an easy flat. And that didn't happen. So now the correction is becoming complicated. Either you look at that as a contracting flat and you're going down totally, or you look at this as an expanding flat, which I like more. And this one should probably come here and go back and break the top. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3. You get 1, 2, 3, and then we're ready for the downside. So basically, there's an impulse to the upside that we're looking for. Now, if this consolidates here quite a lot, if we get a lot of consolidation here, we'll sell it. And we'll assume that it's a contracting flat. So we'll go for the sell. But if you get a buy setup, if they actually spike up here and give you a buy setup, you take this trade to break this top. Once the top is broken, we start selling. So two variations of patterns that could develop in there. We'll see which one it is. Right? I don't know which one it is. We'll see which one it is. Let's go. Euro pound. Euro pound broke the top, but it didn't go. I got tagged in that trade, but I closed it. I closed it in this correction. Right? I was hoping that this would be the one that go up, but I closed it because they made a correction here, and that means that correction could drop all through the bottom. Well, it didn't drop through the bottom, and they're making a flag here, so you have a sell setup because this is a flat. This becomes 1, 2, 3. That's a flat. You have another sell setup like this. So you might get one more drop. Take the profit. Don't keep it. It's just a running flat, right? You're getting one more drop to the downside. If this breaks, you're getting one more drop like this. Take your profit. Don't keep that because at some point this could start to go back up, right? We have to get this one. Remember I showed you the Swiss, how long it took before we got it, but we'll get it. So you take this, that's one trade, take your profit because you don't know when they're going to go back up. If they make another flag, you sell. You take the profit. They make another flag, you sell, you take it because at some point they'll start doing this. This is not a yearly one, right? This one is not going to take years like the Swiss. This one will just take a couple days maybe to go. So today, I don't know. But that's a good sell setup now. Now that you have a flat here to confirm that sell, right? Now that you have a perfect flat pattern here, 1, 2, 3. Right, this is a smaller version, right? Now that you have a bigger one like that, this sell becomes very interesting. So this is a very good sell setup. Come on. Punkad, I'm in this already, and we're looking for another sell here. Right? Either we get a flag here and we sell it. Even if they go back up, it's still a sell because they're consolidating here. So let's see if we get that sell. Let's hope they break out today. But the way I'm looking at this, it doesn't look like they're going to break out, right? This piece looks very corrective. This piece coming down here makes a 1, 2, 3. They'll probably go back up there. We'll get some kind of a bigger version of a structure before we come down. So keep your eyes in it. Let's see. I don't see a buy setup, though. There's no buy setup in it. Pound New Zealand. Okay, we're also looking for the downside on this one since yesterday. We didn't get the downside. It's making a bigger correction. I thought they would make a small correction here, like 1, 2, 3, and then drop. Well, no, they actually go back here. They come here. You're getting a flat here. You probably get a more complex correction, which means this at some point will come back here, give you 1, 2, 3, probably go back up there and then drop. We'll get something like this. So that'd be okay. You just have to patience to wait for the trade setup to the downside. It's not a buy. This is a sharp move. The only way this becomes a buy setup is if this works its way back to the top, come here and then go. So I don't think it's going to do that because I'm not looking for a buy to the upside in this. But if it does that, if we get a flag here and we get more upside, the downside happens, you will see it, and then you look for buy setups. So what is it doing right now? It's making a flat right now in the middle here. See, you're getting this one. And you have that. So at some point, they'll probably either running flat or something. They'll come back here, give you this, and you'll get one more up. And then we'll look for it. Depends on how high that comes. If it comes really high, okay, we'll look for sell, and then we'll look for buys. But if it doesn't go that high, we'll look for sell, total to the downside. Pause. It's in this pattern that looks like upside, but we know this thing has to come down. Right, we're looking at this one, then you have 1, 2, 3. So we have to come down, but it's not coming down. See how sharp this is, and this is not coming down that sharp. So there's a chance we might still make one more up. I don't think this is 1, 2, 3. I'm not looking at that as the end, and this is the total upside, but you could get a buy set up here, maybe a new high. We'll get some kind of an expanding or running flat eventually. See, this one was a big expanding flat. I think this one broke the top. So we might get a complex pattern whereby this goes up some more. Go up some more here, because this is starting to look corrective. Go up some more there and then come down. So if we get buy setups, we take it. If we don't, we look. This morning they were making a flag here. See that? Sorry guys, 1 second. Yep, sorry about that. Getting a problem with my throat or something. Yeah, this morning I was looking at it for a flag here, but now they're going up. If they go that high, it's no longer a flag. It actually becomes a running flat for upside. So you can look for a buy setup. I'll wait for a flag here before I buy. If I get a flag there, I'll buy it. Right, so we don't have that right now. It can still drop more. If they drop more, we look for the sell, but I'm not be selling this anymore. Let it drop, make a flag, and then I'll sell. Once it's no longer a flag, it's not interested as a sell. Pound yen, more upside. You can look at this as a possible running flat. I think that it's not a more classical one, but you can put it as a running flat. You get a flag there, buy. So we got the big, remember this one? We eventually got it. Now we're going up. They'll probably tag this stop here and then downside. So you still have more. All the yen pairs have more upside, right? All the yen pairs have that structure. So keep your eyes on it. Silver already made that little spike up, so you could get one sell more on silver forming. Yen is broken already going. Not yen, the New Zealand is already going. Pound Swiss. You're getting a nice flat pattern here. Yesterday, we were looking at this for a sell on this piece. It did pull back really strong, come down, pull back really strong. You might get a number of corrections here before you go. So if we get a big flat here, we'd look for a flag and then sell it. This is not a flag anymore. You just don't sell it like that. You have to wait for the correction to finish. But it looks downside. It looks very much more, at least one more impulse down. One more impulse down into this area. That is this one. And then we're ready to go. Let's see if we get that. If this becomes a big flat, we'll go up. So far, it's not. But if they come back very high to the top and then come here, this becomes a big flat, then it will be buy. At least one more buy. But right now, we're looking for the downside. New Zealand Swiss. Probably stay away from this. We're making a correction here in an up move. So you might go back one more here, but it's not the best buy setup. Stay away from that. New Zealand CAD, you have a sell setup. It's already broken. You broke that flag there. That's a sell setup. You could get something like this. See, that's a good sell setup. CAD Swiss, stay away from this. Let's go. This is copper. Copper is still coming down, so take this off. That is not valid anymore. And we don't have any sell setup and buy setup in it. Stay away from that. US oil. Okay, so we're consolidating in here. Now let me go very fast because we're running out of time for this webinar. I showed this pattern a few times and ignore this low. This is not the real price. The real price would be somewhere here. So you've got that move down and we've come up here. Now two things we expect to happen here. Either we make a bigger correction now and continue to go, which is more likely, or they'll come back, retest the low. Now, I think it is more likely we get a bigger correction, something like this in the middle there, right? A big correction, there we go. This is the first impulse of that correction to the downside. So I think we're going to have more downside. We're consolidating at the lower level here. When you're consolidating in the lower level here, that is good. You're consolidating here. That's a good sign for a sell. So 1 hour. It's way too early for the consolidation that I'm looking for, but you can get a lot of up and down within the range. So this is starting to look like a sell setup that could come back here and then maybe go back up. We will stay in this range for a while. It could expand. It could, get a little more complicated, but you can take every small trade you have inside. So this is a nice small sell setup forming right now. Do I want to buy in that as yet? No. If they come back to the low, like if they come back into this level and give you a buy setup, yeah, that is worth it. Take the buy. Same in the UK oil. I think this is a sell setup. We'll probably drop here and then go back up. You get something like this maybe. It will be more complicated than that because this will be a long, deep correction before we go. Natural gas. Okay. I still think we'll come now and tag the low. Here is a sell setup. You probably come tag this low and then go back up. So I'm expecting this move here. Nasdaq going sideways. I thought they'll come and tag the top and then go, but it looks like we're coming down already. We might come back to this level, but this is a correction. So eventually they go out. Now this move is not aggressive enough to go up, right? So I think they will come break the low and then you get an aggressive move going up, a very sharp impulse going up. So you can take this out. That is not valid anymore. Sorry, guys. US 30. Yep, we're correcting. We'll probably make more corrections here, right? So you can get a correction. You might start to correct here, drop a little, then go. You want a correction like that before you go. So you might get a short-term sell today, correcting this impulse before you go. S&P 500, same here, you're correcting. See this correction in play? So you might get some more downside, maybe one more up, maybe one more down, you know, something like that, and then upside. DAX, buy. You get a flag buy from this was a buy. So if you get another flag there, buy. AU 200. Okay, this drop, it didn't go very far, but if you got that trade, at least you could have come out of it here. It's getting just a little more complicated. That's all. We're going to still come down. This piece might start to get very and if this becomes very complicated, then we're going to stay in here for a longer time. That's all. You're going to stay in there for a very long time. So let's see if you get a sell setup here, sell again, right? If this becomes a sell setup, sell it again. This one could drop. Nifty. It's going up. This is sharp. So I think if you get a flag here, that's a buy back to the top here. We might eventually still be in this for a while more, right? We might be here for a while more. So if you get this flag, buy it. Hope that it breaks through, but as it comes to the top, keep your eyes on it. Tesla. Yep, the buy starts. The buy is starting here, right? So you're already getting buy set up here. Look for buys. This eventually a buy. Even if they come all the way here, it's a buy. So look for a buy set up here. Amazon. Going sideways. It's still going sideways here. You could still look for a buy here that might go out. We've got a big flat here. So I think we might go up now. Look for a buy setup. SLR. Perfect. Sell. Look for another sell. Wait for a flag here and then look for another sell. This is still going down, right? We're still in the downtrend in this, right? It's a correction. It's a deeper correction. So unless they come back to the top here for a sell, that will give you some buy. Because if you're trying to sell in here, you don't get anything. It's not going anywhere. So I'll prefer if we get a buy to the upside back to this top, because any one of the buys could break out. It hasn't gone anywhere for this week, and it's still within the correction, right? So probably wait to see this. This might give you another move down, but it will not be a big move, right? See this? You just drop, you pull back. You drop, you pull back. So what you're looking for is if you get a flag here to go like that. That would be a better trade. Okay, Reliance is coming up. Good, we wanted it to go back up like that. You're coming here and then look for the sell. And PayPal, somebody asked me to add it, and I said, keep your eyes on this. We're looking for a buy setup on it. It did break out, but it didn't go. So let's see what we're looking at. This is starting to look like a flag here. Probably come back. Like if you get this pattern, then that's a perfect buy setup. It's still upside, right? We're still consolidating. Now, can this one come a little lower and then go? Yeah, it's possible. Right? You wait for the buy setups again. This for a sell, I don't think that's a good idea. Because it might not go very far. It might just come here and start to go back. Because you're looking at a 1, 2, 3 pattern. That's what you want. You want this piece up and then you want that thing down. It's downside. We're going down actually in the bigger picture. See? You've got a sharp move here and you're consolidating in here. This is the consolidation happening here, right? And then the drop. So what pattern we're going to get in there? You could get any amount of pattern. Running flat, expanding flat, contracting flats, whatever. You could get a number of them. All right. So, okay, guys. Oh, I still have to do the cryptocurrency. Sorry about that. Let's go Bitcoin. Bitcoin is breaking out as we expected. You can take all these flags. Yes, this was a flag, this was a flag, this was a flag. It's starting to go. Watch it when it breaks that top. I'll be very, very careful when we break that up. The higher it goes, the more you have to be careful. You don't want to be the last person out. Let me repeat that again. Now, I'm going to repeat that for like a month or two until it falls. Somebody can say, this crazy guy is saying, he keeps saying it's going to fall, that eventually it might fall. No, that's not the point. I'm not telling it's going to fall eventually every time. I'm telling when you're at the top like this, be careful. The same thing when I was warning people when it was 18,000 and 19,000 and 20,000. People say you're crazy. And then it went to 5,000. If you'd exit anywhere between 18 to 21,000, you would have booked a ton of profit. If you kept it back to 5,000, well, why not sell it and go buy back at 5,000? It's the same thing here. If you think it's going to go to 100,000, here's the deal. It's not going now. I have news for you. It will not go to 100,000 now. Right? Even if it goes there, you'd have to be careful to get that, because once it goes there, it start to drop, you might end up back right there at 50, 60,000 before you get to exit it. Right? You don't want to be the last to exit, because this thing has moved, pull back, moved. It has to make a pullback. So it will pull back at some point. Even if they make a spike, it will pull back. Now, what if they make a spike and start to pull back and you don't get to exit? You will exit somewhere at 20,000. And that is where you actually should be buying back to go up, right? If you think it's going to go, I don't know what the heck this is going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if this just, it's nothing. Let's be honest. It's this, it's you know, it's not backed by anything. So the value in it is the value is as much as people were willing to put to it, speculate in it. It's a speculative value, right? It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by currency. It's not backed by a country. It's not backed by anything. It's just backed by the fact that you believe it's going to go to 100,000. And as long as that belief system is kept and it's hold on, it will go. The minute the people who are holding it stop believing in it, that's the falling point, because you can't say, I will take this and, you know, hand it over to that government for something, or hand it over to this government, or I'll go buy gold with it. Nobody will sell you when it starts to fall, sell you gold for Bitcoin. Not going to happen. Let's say you were holding $1 million worth of gold and $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and the price of both start to drop. Let me show you in a very, very simple way, so it will be understandable to everyone. You're holding $1 million of gold in your hand and $1 million worth of Bitcoin in your hand, and the price of both of them start to drop. Which one would you be more worried about? The gold or the Bitcoin? Just ask yourself a simple thing. Which one are you more worried about? That, oh my God, I'll die. I will lose everything. The $1 million worth of gold or the $1 million worth of Bitcoin? You know what you can do with the gold, right? You're absolutely sure what you can do with the gold, and you know you're going to make money out of it. You know you're not going to lose everything. And you know that will never be zero. You're absolutely sure about that. Not with Bitcoin. You're not going to make a gold chain out. You're not going to make a chain out of Bitcoin. You're not going to make jewelry out of Bitcoin and sell it. You're not going to get anything for it. Nobody will take your Bitcoin and say, okay, here's a house. You can pay me in Bitcoin. But in gold, yeah, you can still buy a house with gold if the price drops. I'm pretty sure there'll be enough people to do that, willing to do that. That's the point. That's the point that I'm trying to drive to people. I'm not saying you shouldn't trade it. I'm not saying you might be temporary millionaire with Bitcoin. I'm not saying all of that. I'm saying if you get out in time, the only time you make money out of it is if you buy and you sell it back. If you get out in time and you're lucky, you will make a ton of money. Maybe much more than anybody else. If you don't get out in time, you might be unlucky. And if you're buying at the top, you'll be very unlucky. That's my point. You'll be very, very unlucky. XRP, it's still at the low. This is your chance, right? Probably sell all the Bitcoin, go buy Ripple, right? Because this still has to go, right? This hasn't gone as yet. And we might come back here. It looks like we're making correction here, and I'm not sure where they're trying to head with this one, because it's not going up aggressively. And if they don't go aggressively, they tend to come back down. And if they don't go up, they tend to come back to the lows. Now it's making a very complex pattern in here. There are many ways you can look at this because it's very complex. You can look at a contracting flat here. You can look at a correction in this point and another flat making here. There are many versions of how it will develop. It's all within this range. I'm saying just let it play out within this range. Tell us which one out of those two. Break one side of the range and, tell us which one you're looking at. Most times we would have to come back to the low of the range before we go, right? Because this is one sharp move down. It's never going to leave with one sharp move down. We come back to the low of the range. But if this works its way up like this and keep going like that, then it will come back to the low of the range, but more as a running flat pattern, and then go. Now, this is where the problem comes, holding it through all of that, right? So what is it doing right now? Just what I draw. It's doing exactly what I draw, right? It's doing this. So either it's going to break the top, pull back here and then go, or it's going to drop here and then go. Let's wait for one of those two. Trading in here is, you can see the problem trading in there, right? If you're a long-term buyer and you want to buy and hold, then no problem. You have absolutely no problem. Just hold it. Go back to the 1 hour. And this is where you are, right? Not very much, not a lot of information here. You're getting a flat. If it breaks by it, it will probably pull back. See? But it was short term. If you can make money in that short term, great. This one is a buy. You had a buy. I already give you a buy on Monday, and you're getting another buy set up here. And this one is going to go break the top because we came back to the low here. It doesn't have to break the low. You can look at this as a possible contracting flat. As long as you get a flag, you can go for the trade. Also going back up, but this you have to be careful because we have a sharp impulse down there, and if this works its way up like that, we'll come back here. Right, because this whole thing is a big correction, and they'll eventually get back to this low and then go back up to the top. ETH, good buy, keep buying. You have another buy here, you had a buy there, you're getting another buy here to break the top. When we break the top, you'll have to be careful because we have a sharp wave here that might create a pattern like that. So keep an eye on that. Dash. Going back up. So, yep, you can literally expect this to go back up like that. You can expect this to go, maybe make a pullback, finish that move there. And then from there, we'll look for the downside because you've got a big move coming into it, right? See the big move coming into that? You've got a big move here coming into this. So you get a 1, 2, 3 up, you get a 1, 2, 3 down, you get a 1, 2, 3 up, and then you get that down. So right now it's a buy. You're getting a flag here, so that's a buy. Be careful of this buy. It might not go very far before you get a deeper pullback and then go. This one, it's going. You're already breaking out of that consolidation. So some more upside maybe. Just buy. LTC, upside. They're all going up, but they're all short-term upside. So this is going to go up, go up, go up. And then when it breaks that top, we'll expect one more down. How high it's going to go? It could go much higher than the top, right? It could break this top. They could go break that top and then pull back like this and go, making it a running flat. See? So you can buy. There's more upside in that. And okay, this one is making a flat here. You're getting this. So you probably get a little pullback here. And if they do that, then the buy will be valid. You wanted to pull back to the low here, and then the buy will be very valid to the upside. Right now, I don't think you should do anything with it. So, okay, guys, thank you very much. I will probably add one more. So there's a lot of suggestions, but all the suggestions are getting either 1 or 2 likes on them, 1 or 2 comments on them. So I don't think 2 people only trading it. That's my deal, right? If only 2 people are demanding one kind of charts to put on, and 2 people are trading it. Weekend, I will see how many more we have and how many people want them, and then we'll add them on. 1 or 2 more we can add on. Thank you very much for watching the video. Trade with care. See all of you over the weekend. Thanks. Bye-bye.